Good morning. Good morning. Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India. On this day, July 15, 2021, Thursday. Title same, quality, safety. COVID-19. Civil Field Engineering, Quality AnnexSL, COVID-19, HSC, Engineer's Role, Designs, Construction, Method, Contracts, Organizations, Communications, Coordinations, Quality, Safety, like that. Very simple. Certification for display, for presentation, and certificate for presentation. This is just reference of capability of a person. I'm not saying this my capability, but general for reference. Capability of a person, competency of a person, which means a reliability of a person can be trusted because person has certificates. Person can be trusted. This is what people consider. Person is trustworthy or not trustworthy. The certificate initially states, but value of this certificate stops when performance of person is seen. Performance must tell what certificate is or is not. Very simple. If you are certified, you must prove that you are certified, and that proof is really very important from each and every viewpoint. Quality is very important in life, without which nothing can move. That's what we can say. Without which nothing can work. But how many people do understand in reality what is quality? That is a major point of concern. If we can't consider quality factor in reality, well, I think there's something wrong somewhere. That point must be, you can say, checked out, must be corrected, must be checked out, must be, you can say, taken care of. If not taken care of, it creates a problem. I am opening certain files about safety, and that's why it's taking some time, because these are important files and should be taken care of. Now, quality and safety are very important issues that count in our life. When I say quality, this is no joke. When I say quality, this is no joke. This is a life requirement. This is a requirement of everybody, and I am sometimes surprised that many people, many engineers say quality increases cost. If engineer says that, I am really surprised. If some engineer says that to upkeep quality, to achieve quality, we have to increase cost, this means that engineer is not engineer, I would say. Simply, whoever it is. This means you don't have any understanding of engineering. You don't have any understanding of engineering, what engineering is all about, and that engineering is, you can say, you have only technical knowledge. You have only technical knowledge. You don't have application knowledge. You don't understand engineering. That's why somebody says, if we have to increase quality level or we have to follow quality, we have to certainly increase cost. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this, that this is a sensible statement. Cost and quality are built in. If you don't maintain any quality, there is no meaning of doing that thing. If I say I spend money on construction and I don't take care of quality, this means I am foolish. Why I don't expect quality, I don't understand. My quality doesn't depend upon contractors. My quality doesn't depend upon masons or carpenters. My quality depends upon work. If a mason works, that mason has to work for quality requirement. If a carpenter works, that carpenter has to work according to quality requirement. Or if an engineer works, that engineer has to do according to quality requirement. If somebody says that no, if I take care of quality, I have to spend more, then that person is rejected. In fact, engineering never says that. Quality is a part of engineering, and engineering, if there is no quality in engineering, it's not engineering, it's just nothing. It's a scrap. Very bad statement, very big statement, but factual. Just like if I am healthy, I am safe. If I am safe, I am healthy. If my body works well, if my body is in order, there is no ailment with me. I can say I am happy, I am sad, I am healthy, I have no ailment, I have no problem. I have good fitness physically, I can say good fitness physically, and if my mind is sound, it's active, it's efficient, I can say okay, I am mentally as well as physically fit. We always say I am fit, bodily fit, which means I am mentally and physically fit. This is what medical fitness means. Medicine doesn't say that you are fit half mentally or you are fit half. This doesn't that. So we must realize that we should not issue statements which don't have any foundation. Such statements don't have any foundation. Quality is quality. You cannot separate quality from work. And if you separate quality from work means I don't understand that how it can be done. Can I separate my mind from my body? Can I separate my thinking from my mind? Purpose of mind is to think, so I have to think. Now what do I think? That is different. Same way, my body is fit, I am healthy. It doesn't mean I can do anything, but within certain limits I am healthy. Within prescription medical science I am healthy. It doesn't mean I am very healthy. Same way, quality is inbuilt in every act, in every work, in every product. That we have to understand. If I can't understand that, there is something wrong somewhere. I am not asking for something very specific. I'm not asking for something that cannot be done. If I am saying quality, this means cost I am paying, that cost must import a degree of quality in that product. That's why I'm paying. Otherwise, why should I pay? If I pay and I don't get quality and purpose or performance from that product, this means I am paying for nothing. A product does not serve its purpose, its intended purpose for which I bought that product, I buy that one, then there is no meaning. And this is not in our country alone, it's understood all over countries, all over world. Quality means performance, levels. If that product performs, if say somebody appoints me, somebody gives me some job, and that person gives me that job with presumption that this person is skilled, this person is qualified, this person can be trusted for this job. This means that person has a reliable picture in his mind, in that person's mind about my competency, not because that person knows my capability, but because of certain levels I have attained through papers, through certificates, and that person, if I don't perform to that expectations, if I don't perform, of course, then that person would not say anything in beginning, but when I deliver that bad quality work, that person won't accept that. Nothing wrong with that. Why should that person accept that work which is not worth, which I was expected to deliver, but I failed to deliver? Why should that person who pays me for my service charges, and if that person doesn't get that service, that level of service, this means it is my weakness, it is my, you can say, is my incapability, it's my incompetency that I'm not able to do my job. It's not fault of that person. That person, based on my capability, my proficiency levels, presumed because of certain certificates, and I have to do that. But I failed, not that person. That person can claim money back. I have to give back because I have not done my job. That's what I say. It's quality. Job means quality job. If I say I am making this product, I am manufacturing this product. When I say I am manufacturing this product, it is understood that this product must have certain levels of performance, certain levels of service that product gives. If you buy some milk from market, you expect that that milk should have this property, composition should be this, and if that milk product does not give you that competency, that satisfaction, or doesn't meet that requirement, you can say this milk is not according to quality. But why? Quality cannot be separated from product. Yes, it can be defined, that is true. You can classify quality levels in product. There, just like we define various ranges of product. This is product, this is service. In this service I give you this. In another range of service I give you this. In this product I am giving you this, and in that product I am giving you this. That can be accepted, because that range varies cost of that product. That range varies services levels. That point is acceptable. But whatever level is defined by claimer, by manufacturer, by service provider, that must be done. If that is done, we can say yes, it is quality product within that specification. We call it specification, means quality can be elaborated, levels of quality can be elaborated in description of specification. We can say, okay, these are 5 points I am writing here. These points I shall deliver to you. I'll give you, and you will get satisfaction in my delivered service of these requirements. And if you don't get this, you can complain to me. I will give you remedial measures, or I will replace my service or my product. That is acceptable. But we cannot say we can't give you quality. I cannot say that. As an engineer, I cannot accept that. If yes, give me labeled quality, give me defined quality, I accept that. I will not say that. If your specification says that it should be silver made, then it should be silver made. It should say that it should be brass made, then it should be brass made. In place of brass, you cannot give me silver. In place of silver, you cannot give me gold, and I don't accept that. I don't expect that you give me gold in place of silver, because I am paying you for silver. That's main important point here. Quality classification is very, very important, because we cannot forget that quality cannot be written in whatever way. Even if I use brass for silver, it should perform. Question is, if it doesn't perform, okay, performance levels can be different, just like levels of quality, but it should perform. And if it does not perform, it is out of specification, it's out of quality. If I design some building, that design should be according to requirements, that design should be according to acceptable standards, and that design should be worth constructable, worth buildable, so that it can perform in its physical form. Now my design should be, qualified enough. My design should be good enough. I'm not saying complicated, I'm saying good enough, that it can be easily worked out on site, it can be easily executed for its intended purpose. This means a quality element lies in there, which I'm not defining separately, because design itself states that design of that structure itself declares quality of that product, and that engineer or that supervisor who does it on site, that supervisor is also qualified, that supervisor is also, you can say, professional to do that job. So I expect that quality performance from that site, under controls of that supervisor, do this job. And when I say do this job, means both. When I say quality product, and whatever product I get, that is quantity, and that quantity means I can call it quantity only when it is having expected levels of quality. This difference you have to understand. We cannot separate quantity and quality. It is very important point. We cannot separate that. Engineering is not unknown now. Engineering is known very well. It's not like COVID-19. We do not know what it is. Today we can say COVID-19 is still secret. Highest degree of secrecy lies with COVID-19 virus. We don't know what it is. But in engineering or in sciences, we cannot say we do not know. Yes, maybe we do not know 100%, but maybe we know 75%, 80%. And whatever we know, we have to do that. That point is very significant. COVID-19 is directly related to our health system, our body safety, our mind safety. That is, if it doesn't work, if COVID-19 we do not understand, we cannot understand what our health response would be, and what our mind response would be. COVID-19 is still very unclear, so we cannot claim anything on that. It can be good somewhere, it can be bad somewhere. So far, it has been against ourselves. So far, COVID-19 has been against ourselves. It's very, very important point we have to understand. Light has gone. So my point of view of quality is very different. We have to understand that. Engineers must realize quality facts, and in particular civil engineers have to change quality aspect of society, or else quality cannot exist. You got it? Very important point. Civil engineers have to change quality aspect of society. Civil engineers have to change quality aspect of society. There's a point in that. Try to understand what I'm saying. Civil engineers have to change quality aspect of society, or else quality cannot exist. Try to understand this. If civil engineers do their job rightly, which they are supposed to do, they cannot exempt themselves from this. They cannot exempt themselves from this because it's their professional part, it's responsible part, production of quality product. Whole world live, people of world live in in structures, in building. All day we use structures, every one of us. It may be building structure, it may be road structure, it may be whatever else structure. Every day we use structures. This means whatever structure exists, every structure is our part. We are, you know, it belongs to us. Directly it belongs to us, or indirectly it belongs to us. It affects our lives. It affects our lives directly and indirectly both. Everybody wants house to live in. Everybody wants to drive. Everybody wants to walk. Everybody wants to stay healthy. Everybody wants to use WC bathroom, to do everything that is required to be done. Yeah. क्या हो गया? Everybody is required to live safe. Everybody is required to enjoy life all over the world. If we don't have room to sleep, we have to sleep in rain, we have to sleep in open, and we have to sleep in dirty area. If we don't have room, we don't have home. We have to understand this point. This means every person uses civil engineering product, that room, unit product of engineering. If there is no room, I have to stay in open, I have to stay in, you can say, undeveloped area. If there is no road, no street, it's all jungle, this means I have to stay there. This means standards of society are produced by civil engineers. This means civil engineering product is directly related to existence. Directly relates to existence. That is civil engineering product. Means quality of life is affected. Requirement of life is affected if there is a house for you to live, it gives you a degree of confidence, a degree of security that I am safe, you are safe. That's main point. We cannot run away. That's where I say that quality of survival, quality of existence, quality of living is changed, and it is major part of life. If you have room to stay, it's a major part of life. It's like that you have a car, you use car, the whole day you use car, but when you go home with that car, you have a parking, you park that car there, and you feel safe that my car is safe. You sleep well. But if you don't have parking, where do you park your car? You may park somewhere from where it can be stolen, or you may have to park somewhere a few kilometers away. You have to go there, park car and come back. Means you are never safe. You are never sure. That's where I'm trying to tell where, how, and about how quality impacts our life. Let us put on fan, please. So, my dear engineers, I'm not impressed by such statements that we have to we have to employ more persons, more engineers for quality check. I don't understand this point. Why should you employ more people for that when quality is inbuilt part? You cannot give this excuse that we have to provide more people. This means you do not know how to establish system, how to work with quality. You imagine that it shall work, but it doesn't work. This is main point. I tried to explain that quality has to be achieved, and by achieving quality we don't do any obligation. It's a part of job. Quality is part of job, it's part of responsibility. And if I say that I can deliver you product but no quality, then you falsify yourself and you falsify your profession, that you do not know what is profession. Profession itself means quality. Try to understand. When I say profession, what does it mean? What is profession? You think making money is profession? It's not that. You think if you do something, you get in return money for that or fees for that. Is that profession? That is professional transaction. That's not profession. Everybody sells something and somebody buys something. It doesn't mean that is professional transaction. No. Profession clearly says that in-depth study is required. Advanced study is required in that job which we call professional job. Its advanced knowledge is required. Advanced application is required. That's why it is engineering. Engineering itself means that application of mind on material. Application of mind on material production. On production. That is design based production. Production cannot be called without design. If I have to do some work in engineering, whatever kind of work, whatever class of work, I have to use mind. Only then it is called engineering work. Or else, if I don't use a specific mind, a specific level of mind, I cannot say that this is engineering product. That is, product like we walk. When I walk, I don't say I'm doing engineering, I'm just walking. That's natural. Something that's happening naturally, where your mind is not used, your thoughts are not just really just like that's something else. That's natural. It's not engineering. Nature and does something its own engineering, but not my engineering. My engineering is based on my education, my performance levels, whatever technique I use, I apply, that is engineering. Technique, technology, technology. What technology means? This means how do you do some work based on technical definition, based on what should be done, based on mathematical approach, based on physics approach, based on chemistry approach, and based on many other approaches. You understand the point? Engineer cannot say I can't give you quality, and if there is such engineer, I think that engineer is not an engineer. That engineer is not an engineer because that engineer does not understand engineering. Engineering means doing something according to some definitions, according to requirements, and according to what should be done. That is called engineering. It's not a grocery shop. It's not a milk shop that you go and buy something and pay and come back and that's I have engineered this. No, neither you engineer this and nor your shopkeeper engineered that. It's just a dealership. Somebody procures some item, sells it to you, and that's it. Don't call it engineering, but whatever you do based on your design, your thinking, that is very different. Now, I don't want to spend all time on this explanation. Yesterday we did safety and we talked about hazards and we did that, what hazards were, what were definitions. We're talking about this and really it's very interesting to understand some of that. It's control, storage and use of hazardous materials. We thought this. This was contents of this document apply to all activities, operations to be carried out at construction sites, inclusive of construction, commissioning and operational start activities. This is, you can say, contents of this document apply to all activities, all operations to be carried out at construction sites, inclusive of construction, commissioning and operational startup activities. Purpose. Purpose is to establish a procedure for systematically identifying and handling all hazardous materials associated with the project and to implement appropriate all required preventive measures, control measures. No chance should be taken in this regard. Hazards can amount to incalculable losses. Now there are certain terms that, of course, when say incalculable losses, there can be fire, there can be casualties, there can be collapse, there can be anything you can see, there can be whatever. People can die, there can be whatever hazards are unknown. hazards are many times natural and many times artificial, which we do not know what will happen, and unexpectedly something happens which we don't understand immediately how it's happened. And we investigate that, and then we try to find a reason based on which we got this hazard happened. That's what to say. There are means definitions than safety, company, contractor, subcontractor. All we have many times studied, and here go further on this. Then there are instructions about this, that let us say APC contractor and subcontractor shall certainly conform to national safety and environmental protection legislation. Hazardous substances include any, some, or all flammable liquid or some other substance likely to give rise to toxic, corrosive, irritant, and harmful effects, risk results to personal or environment. No hazardous substance shall be brought onto site without approval of contractor, safety, etc., and this approval shall only be given upon receipt of material data sheet. You can say material hazard data sheet. Then all these were explained. How to store hazardous substance, that's also dependent on approval. Then how to store fuel, etc. Then substances stored on site should be subject to agreement with contractor, and then kept to minimum quantity, not maximum, and be securely locked or fenced off and under control of field procurement manager. Have appropriate warning. It was like we had to register everything, hazardous materials, we maintain the supervision of contractor field procurement. Then let us see something in this. It says that no smoking, etc. Signs be fixed. The storage facilities have firefighting extinguishers appropriate to store substances and provided with all emergency equipment, including spill equipment located nearby containment area. Substances shall be held in secure appropriate containers with substance clearly identified along with hazard warning symbols or exterior of container. This will apply to container use and fill. Substances shall be held in secure appropriate containers with substance clearly identified along with hazard warning symbol on exterior of container. This shall apply to containers in use in field as well as those held in quarantine. All containers holding hazardous substances must have their lids replaced when are not in use. Only small quantities should be removed from approved store at one time. It is contractor and subcontractor responsibility to ensure that users of substances are properly informed, instructed, and trained in hazards. Control measures to be employed. In addition, it's responsibility of contractor procurement officer to ensure that all materials are retained in quarantine until positive confirmation is received from medical administration that necessary treatments for accidents to personal are organizable. Then empty or redundant containers and empty or redundant containers, all excess materials must be removed as soon as possible, and arrangements must be made safe for their safe disposal. Its requirement, its requirement that designated steps are provided for identification, segregation, and removal of waste from site. Hazardous substance must not be discharged. Hazardous substance must not be discharged onto ground or into drains where they can cause pollution or an explosion. Hazardous substance hazardous substance must not be discharged into ground or into drains where they can cause pollution or an explosion. In event of an accidental spillage, EPC contractor, manager, HSC manager is to be informed immediately. Immediately, all hazardous materials by cross-contamination may certainly be acting volatile, leading to cause a major incident, fire or explosion shall be suitably segregated. Where segregation is not clearly stated on containerized material or data sheet, advice shall be sought through EPC contractor, project manager, HSC manager. A hazardous materials log register to be maintained under supervision of contractor field procurement manager to identify responsible personnel. Periodicity or schedule of inspections and ensuring compliance with this procedure. All hazardous waste consignments must be accompanied by a waste transfer note authorizing transport by a registered waste carrier. There were references of health regulation. We now will go to incident reporting. We did a lot incident reporting. And for purpose we said before also that to ensure that all incidents are reported in a logical and consistent manner. All incidents must be reported in a logical and consistent manner to give guidance on preparation of accident reports, to capture all information necessary to identify accident cause factors. Prevention of accidents adds to health and proficient working on sites. It adds to value engineering on production. It results in saving lives of human. It results in professionalism. It results in capacity building. And also, what is near miss is very important point. Means if you any or you can say whatever event that has a potential for a higher severity, that is a potential for a higher severity in terms of property damage or personal injury or both. And in this we use two forms or two categories of category where only form is used for recording all injuries and property damage incidents only, and there's another one where form used for investigating serious or potentially serious incidents and recording a root cause analysis. One is category A, other is category B. Category A is very simple. It says form used for recording all injuries and property damage incidents, and form B used to use for investigating serious or potentially serious incidents and recording a root cause analysis. This means category B is like investigation, like research, like to study in details, not to just record. And where only record is required, that is category A, in which we can say just record what happened and not logically defined how it happened, which is category B, investigating serious or potentially serious incidents recording a root cause analysis. Again, these are titles and responsibilities which are, you know, important point is that we have to talk of health safety here, which means contractors, SHN and security manager immediately report all accidents or serious incidents to site leader for necessary management or organizational actions, and immediately act for meeting emergencies procedures including reporting and medical provisions. Then are responsible for development of this procedure and monitoring compliance, initiate investigation process, and then subcontractor site manager ensure that this procedure is being implemented correctly. Likewise, you can say contractor and subcontractor site supervisor shall report all accidents or serious incidents immediately to their respective managers, shall participate in administration of this procedure, shall ensure that recommendations resulting from whatever investigations are being acted upon. Then likewise there are other responsibilities that shall facilitate implementation of this procedure. Likewise very common. So we go to now just to understand these instructions for forms, and this procedure means procedure has been broken down into two categories, two stages. Category A, as I said, form category A and form category B. In category A, which is for which is for minor incidents, to enable site representative, safety representative, to maintain a log or record of all incidents and accidents, establishing trends cost analysis, and construct a project file. That is for category A, like log of whatever happened, incident or accident. Establishing trend means how it works. We give some results in curve, graphics, cost analysis, and construct a project file. And category B, which is a structured pro forma to enable effective investigation of all serious accidents or incidents, and to arrive at root cause analysis means it's a kind of analytical research which would tell you how could this happen and how could this incident or how could this accident be avoided had this care been taken. Guidance on use of incident report forms, that's category A, is report attachment 7.1. Let us go and see what is attachment 7.1. Where is this one? Let's attachment. I'm sorry, I'm finding on this file. I'm foolish. Yes, I think I'm foolish. Okay, well, we continue like this. So I was talking of category A and category B. Now category A, that is to be documented in medical center and with safety representative, and of course record using following guidelines. Incident report shall be marked, given a sequential number. Incident report shall be marked and given a sequential number. Type of incident to be ticked as appropriate. Description of incident, medical safety representative provides brief details. Then potential severity for certain near miss incidents or situations that could have resulted in more serious injury, property damage. Property damage report is self-explanatory. Injury report to be filled in by medico and injured party wherever relevant for possible application. Category A report pro forma can be used as a standalone document. Medical contains a copy of all completed forms to log all injuries, and site safety representative would track all property damage incidents by maintaining a record on site. Let's see again this. You can meanwhile read this till time I come back. I can read this till time I come back. For your clear understanding, I'll come back in 5 to 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes, of course. So let's say now category B and category A as a site guidance on use of incident report from A. We discussed about this that category A can be used standalone document medical form. Category B can say this is here to be documented in medical center as a safety representative and recorded using following guidelines. Incident report shall be marked given a sequential number. Okay, you will get a sequential number of incident report. It shall be marked given a sequential number. Type of incident to be ticked as appropriate. That is, I'm talking of category A. And incident report number, then type of incident that should be ticked as appropriate. Description of incident, medical safety representative provides brief details and potential severity for certain near miss incidents or situations that could have resulted in more serious injury, property damage. Property damage report is self-explanatory. Injury report to be filled in by medico and injured party wherever relevant for possible application. So it's that category A report pro forma can be used as stand-alone documents. Medico retains a copy of all completed forms to log all injuries, and site safety representative who track all property damage incidents by maintaining a record on site. So here are very few points only: sequential number or serial number. Then we have to tick boxes, whatever is applicable. Then description of incident, medical safety representative provides potential severity for certain near miss incidents that could have resulted in more serious injury, property damage. Property damage report is self-explanatory. Injury report to be filled in by medico and injured party wherever relevant for possible application. So category B, where site investigation result sheet. Category B, site investigation result sheet, and that is another next attachment, not available here, but it's a form. Investigation results. Investigation results sheet should be completed by site safety representative using guidelines as such. What is that? Now there is a noting. Site safety representative has to coordinating role regarding preparation of these reports and shall establish an investigation team in conjunction with site leader to establish accident cause factors. Means safety representative got a coordinating role regarding preparation of these reports and establish an investigation team in conjunction with leader to establish accident cause factors. It means immediate causes. So we can go back and see what are these. Immediate cause is unsafe acts and conditions to be identified using these guidelines. Now let us see what tabulation says. It says unsafe acts, it says indications, it says remarks. Operating equipment not, it is just time for operating equipment without authority. Point number one is unsafe act. What is that? If someone is operating equipment without authorization, that is number one cause. Operating equipment without authority. Indication is equipment not checked for performance. Equipment not checked for performance. Generally not cared for. That is remarks. So one is operating equipment without authority. Number two is failure to warn or educate. Failure to warn or educate. In this case, what is that? Indication. No toolbox stock delivered, no warning given. This is failure to warn, means no toolbox stocks delivered, no warning given. Generally formalized only, not realized. And that is versus remarks. Failure to warn or educate means no toolbox stock given, no toolbox stocks delivered, no warning given. Generally formalized only, not realized. Failure to secure. Failure to secure means ignorance by worker or carelessness or overconfidence of correct use. Ignorance by worker or carelessness or overconfidence of correct use. Very common among workers. That is, what is that? Very common among workers, and that is remarks is very common among workers. Even safety belts, body harnesses are avoided. That is failure to secure. You did not secure yourself. Ignorance by worker or carelessness by worker or overconfidence of correct use, and generally this is very common among workers. Even safety belts, body harnesses, lifelines are avoided. And operating outside of design limitations. No authority instructed about rated speed of tool, worker unable to read description on tool. Nobody, see, operating outside of design limitations means rate limitation. No authority instructed about rated speed of tool, worker unable to read description on tool. Nobody cares, even safety personnel ignore. And let's say removing a safety device for personal convenience or ease of working, removed devices like guides or insulations. Guides or insulations, even guides removed for removing a safety device for personal convenience or ease of working, removed devices like guides or insulations. Workers avoid device for ease of working. Using defective equipment, routine maintenance failure. No competent person checked operational effectiveness of tool. Routine maintenance failure. No competent person checked operational effectiveness of tool. Nobody cares for an earliest repair or replacement. Nobody cares for an earliest repair or replacement. Not wearing personal protection equipment. Not wearing personal protection equipment. General neglect, generally neglect by workers or general neglect by workers to avoid PPE just for little extra comfort. Little extra comfort, not using safety goggles, hard hats, or safety shoes for various excuses of difficulty in operation or wearing. Hard hats in hot areas are avoided, safety shoes are avoided, overalls are avoided. One foreman expressed an excuse for having having headache when hard hat is worn. Excuses. Improper lifting technique. Lift on self-practice. Lift on self-practice style without caring for instructions. Without caring for instructions given by manufacturer or method as delivered. Without method as delivered during toolbox talk. So, lift on self-practice style without caring for instructions given by manufacturer or method as delivered during toolbox talk. For fast running on job production safety, technique are ignored. For fast running on job production safety, for fast running on job production safety, techniques are ignored. Improper placement of individual material. Neglect of material sorting and proper handling. Neglect of material sorting and proper handling. Lack of site supervision and safety surveillance. Nobody cares in general. So what is that? Improper placement of individual material, neglect of material sorting and proper handling, lack of site supervision and safety surveillance. Neglect of material sorting and proper handling, lack of site supervision and safety surveillance. Nobody cares in general. Improper position for task. Improper position for task. Not caring about tools handling. Not caring about tools handling but talking. Not caring about tools handling but talking. Using mobile phone during tools operations. Nobody cares in general. Policing cannot be done on site. Servicing equipment in operation. During operation, not caring about results or consequences, but trying to check defects. Nobody cares in general. Horseplay or other non-work related activity. Playing with equipment or tools for own pleasure without caring for adverse consequences. Nobody cares in general. Horseplay or other non-work related activity, playing with equipment or tools for own pleasure without caring for adverse consequences. Nobody cares in general. Under influence of alcohol, drugs, medication. Under influence of alcohol, drugs, medication, drinking without permission on works that hangs on a person. Nobody cares in general. Other identified other identified acts, using hoisting equipment for personal transport without permission, standing below equipment while it operates, neglect of operations, leaving tools in operating condition, unattended, avoiding safety belts or harness. So, using hoisting equipment for personal transport without permission, standing below equipment while it operates, neglect of operations, leaving tools in operating conditions, unattended, avoiding safety belts or harness. Nobody operating equipment, without authority, failure to warn or educate, failure to secure, operating outside of design limitations, removing a safety device, using defective equipment, not wearing personal protective equipment, improper lifting techniques, improper placement of individual material, improper position for task, servicing equipment in operation, horseplay or other non-working related activity, under influence of alcohol, drugs, medicine, other identified acts. Memories about safety issues. As leader, as project manager, personally I have been inclined to supervise many senior personnel and thousands of workers. But experience is not convincing. Ask many engineers and foremen about not using hard hats when such equipment had been provided by organization. Surprising responses received. Many responded that hard hats were kept in offices or in stores. I asked many to go back to store or office and bring back hard hats or keep respective hats in offices or stores. One foreman replied that he is not willing to use for it caused inconvenience to his head due to having head stress. Means I have stress in head, I can't wear it. So said he was not willing to use hard hat for it caused inconvenience to his head due to having head stress. I instructed many personnel, go back home, shoutly go back home. They not being interested to work dressed with PP. Go back home should they not only being interested to work dressed with PP and come back. I've seen many accidents due to not wearing PPEs by workers. I've seen many finger cuts resulting in bleeding due to ill use of grinders or drills due to unsafe use of grinders or drills. chaired many meetings with all supervising staff, stressing for toolbox talks in details. But effect was not witnessed to requirements. I could not find any valid reason for not using PPE at cost of life. One person on a project working on ground for underground tank where RCC preparation activities were ongoing. I had asked all workers while visiting sites to use hard hats at least, but instruction was ignored. All hard hats were carried by hands. Hard hats were carried by hands. Person did not use hard hat or hard hat. Unfortunately, leg slipped from ground and person fell into deep trench. Person's head struck with formwork batten and life was lost. Unfortunately, leg slipped from ground and person fell into deep trench. Person's head struck with formwork batten and life was lost. I heard about this news when I was out of that organization. I even observed certain stupid personnel not using safety boots for reason of being tightly laced. In turn, sleepers are used or chapels are used. Some workers were seen working on higher levels without using even safety belts. Though body harness should be used, excuse explained was that it was not convenient for them to work fast. His excuse explained was that it was not convenient for them to work fast. Every time belt was required to be removed and encore again. Lifeline requires to be provided, but that too is not utilized properly until construction team does not respect life values. Safety organization cannot be enforced. Then we can say unsafe conditions. Unsafe conditions, indications and remarks, inadequate guards or barriers, inadequate guards or barriers. Inadequate guards or barriers, then inadequate improper protracted equipment, inadequate guards or barriers, inadequate improper protected equipment, defective tools, defective tools, equipment or materials, and congested, restricted areas, inadequate warning systems, chemical hazards, housekeeping, noise exposure, radiation exposure in temperature extremes, poor excessive illumination, ventilation adequacy, inadequate, other identified features. Inadequate guards or barriers. Inadequate guards or barriers. Protection to work areas are not made. Protection to work areas are not made adequate, that causes undue situations to result in accidents. Often noticed on sites, but no action is promptly resorted to. This is inadequate guard or barriers. Inadequate, improper protected equipment. Inadequate, improper protected equipment. Due protection is not provided on equipment or tools. Often noticed on sites, but no action is promptly resorted to. Defective tool, equipment or materials. Tools are not regularly inspected by experts from operational safety viewpoint and often noticed on site, but no action is promptly resorted to. Congested or restricted areas of work. Work area not being tidy during work time, leading to crashes. Tidying activity conducted only during or before client's inspection. Often noticed on sites, but no action is promptly resorted to. Inadequate warning systems. Required warning signs not installed for danger information. Often noticed on sites, but no action is promptly resorted to. Chemical hazards. Area remain unnoticed. Even by smaller quantity of hazardous materials being available. Area remain unnoticed even by smaller quantity of hazardous materials being available. बना रहा हूँ चाय. Area remain unnoticed even by smaller quantity of hazardous materials being available, sometimes neglected. Housekeeping. Poor housekeeping and no one to ensure good general arrangement for a comfortable working. Often noticed on sites, actions are sometimes resorted to. Noise exposure. Equipment and tools resulting in excessive noise. Equipment and tools resulting in excessive noise, leading to hearing impairment temporarily. Often noticed on sites, hearing aids are used sometimes. Radiation exposure, very serious issue as can affect body permanently. Due protection is required, should be protected in plants. Radiation exposure, very serious issue as can affect body permanently. Due protection is required. Temperature extremes, very common in hot weather areas. Temperature extremes very common in hot weather areas, particularly in Arabian Gulf, working areas where 4 to 50 degrees or more Celsius is often recorded. Often noticed on sites, actions are resorted to. Poor accessible illumination. Internal areas of building are not adequately illumined due to lack of electrical arrangements, leading to unpredicted accidents. Often noticed on sites, actions are taken to go ahead with work, but electrical cables are not properly routed. Ventilation inadequate. Area internal of buildings, basements, water or other tanks etc. are prone to ventilation issues, which is not an easily provided element. Areas internal of buildings, basements, water or other tanks etc. are prone to ventilation issues, which is not an easily provided element. Often noticed on sites, artificial compressed air should be provided where necessary, but ignored in many areas. Often noticed on sites, artificial compressed air or forced ventilation should be provided where necessary, but ignored in many cases. Other identified features: base scaffolding, lack of handrails on roof, lack of safety equipment, misuse of PPs, shortage of cold and hot drinks for workers, lot of overtime working, lot of night working, no entertainment, often noticed on sites but no action is promptly resorted to. Unsafe act should describe non-acts, bad acts or omissions which lead directly to. Unsafe conditions should describe systems, equipment or some other solutions that should have been provided with to prevent incidents, accidents. Unsafe act should describe non-acts, bad acts or omissions which lead directly to incident. Unsafe conditions should describe situations, system, equipment or some other solutions that should have been provided with to prevent accident, incidents. Basic causes. Preconditions that lead to unsafe act or conditions may include as indicated with following table. Preconditions that lead to unsafe act or condition: failure to react to an unusual situation, training of new procedure, personal equipment, process and or material. Failure to Failure to react to an unusual situation, training of new procedure, personal equipment, process and or material. Not imparted with due to neglect by officials. No instruction provided or available, no toolbox talk conducted, failure to correct existing situation, carelessness, ignorance, no problem attitude. Instruction, training inadequate or not understood, not confirmed by concerned officials. Supervision failed to explain reasons or justify. Neglect of responsibility. Supervision failed to listen. Neglect of responsibility. Duties and tasks not clear. Neglect of responsibility. Pressure of immediate tasks. Lack of schedule and confidence. Responsibility not clear or not understood. Lack of awareness of job. Too many decision makers giving instructions. Incoherent team. Authority inadequate to manage situation. Lack of leadership. Decision to exceed authority. Lack of leadership. Decision avoidance. Lack of leadership. Instruction failed to produce desired results. Lack of responsibility. Subordinate failed to use initiative. Lack of leadership. Moral tension and stress causing situations. Lack of leadership. Job descriptions not adequate. Lack of leadership. Honest error. Wrong action taken. Lack of leadership. Lack of coordination, teamwork. Lack of leadership. Poor cooperation. Lack of leadership. Coordination, communication. Faulty inspection and maintenance. Lack of leadership and supervision. Poor work control, coordination leading to poor site conditions. Lack of leadership and supervision. Workload too much, too little. Lack of leadership over controls. Staff shortages, high turnover, absenteeism. Lack of leadership over controls. Personality type, that's impulsive, excitable, lazy, etc. Lack of leadership over controls. Poor work habits, taking shortcuts, careless with tools. Lack of leadership and supervision. Work assignment unsuited for particular individual. Lack of leadership and supervision management. Inadequate delegation or development of subordinates. Lack of leadership and vision. Inadequate delegation or development of subordinates. Health and impairment of individual. Lack of leadership and vision. Domestic or other external influence. Lack of leadership. Root causes. General failure types found in accident causes can be listed as follows. Procedures, inadequate quality of existing procedures regarding application, availability, realism and understanding caused by inadequate team that developed procedure, incompetent team management or organization, inadequate feedback about procedure, lack of leadership, communication, personnel not informed about procedures, lack of leadership, communication, inadequate indexing of filing system, lack of leadership and management, lack of requirement to have works procedures, lack of leadership and management. We'll continue this. Now it's time to little quick break here. and we'll continue this after some time.